News Live and Gate City Bank present the Bison Football Show with head coach Chris Koolhain.
Well, only one road team won in the first round of the FCS playoffs. It's this team right here, the San Diego Toreros. Their prize for an impressive win at Cal Poly, a trip to Fargo to face the Bison. San Diego's surprising win is the first ever for a Pioneer League football team. And we welcome to the set head coach Chris Koolhain. And coach, what do you make of the Pioneer League getting their first ever win and San Diego going on the road and beating Cal Poly?
Well, Patty Viverito's happy, being the commissioner of both leagues. And I thought San Diego had a really good game plan. Obviously, the option is pretty neutralized in the weather, but take that out of there. I thought they had a great game plan. Cal Poly was always struggling against the pass, and San Diego just burned them throwing the football. And I thought they had did a great job of limiting Cal Poly's explosive plays, and they had a chip on their shoulder. Obviously, that hey, you've beaten us before, and it's hard to beat a team at the same time twice in a year. So great win for them.
Yeah, one way to stop that triple option is a muddy field, and we look at the score of this game, and it was 35-21. Cal Poly just could not get their rush game going at all. The field was very soupy. It looked like they were playing in gravy out there when a player hit the field, but 3.2 yards a carry, that's just not Cal Poly's game at all, is it?
No, it really isn't. They took everything outside the hashes away from them because you're just not getting the traction to run your pitch and run your quarterback outside. And, that's the thing that you notice. San Diego's receivers knew where they were going.
Yeah.
And Cal Poly's defensive backs were kind of on their heels. And I was so impressed with the weather, how well they threw the ball and how well they caught the ball. I think there was a play, they ran a corner out late in that game inside the 5, and it was a 50-50 ball in the rain, and the big tight end goes up and gets it. So I think they have tremendous skill players at San Diego.
Yeah, I agree. They're skilled. Let's break down the Toreros a little bit here and look at Jonah Hodges first. He's their running back, redshirt senior, a mighty mite, but he's got a lot of power to him. He's quick, 5'9", 194. His stats are outstanding. That's his total yards there, but 6.5 yards a carry. That's impressive.
Yeah, it really is, behind a big offensive line, and he had a big day yesterday. I don't know what his stats were, but he was 150-plus yards yesterday against Cal Poly, and Cal Poly's got a good rush defense, and he has great speed, and it's hard to bring him down with one guy. You got to get a lot of hats to the ball.
Fifth-year senior, and he started at Cal. So this kid's played in big football games. He has a lot of speed. Is real shifty. Their run game's pretty good. You see a little quick pitch here.
Yeah, they do a little bit of everything. I think that's the thing that was unique is how diversified their offense was with the ability to throw the football, ability to run the football, a little option here that they run as well, and no question. He's a special player, and if they're able to run the football, it sets up all their throwing game.
Well, their quarterback is also a pretty good player. He's a young kid, throws it very well. They throw it a little bit more. They don't just run the football. His name is Anthony Lawrence. See a few of his throws right here, but 21 straight starts. He's only a sophomore, 164 passer rating for this kid.
Yeah, I thought he played really well, and he had the one mistake where they threw an interception for a touchdown, but he puts it in places where their receivers who have some height will go up and get the football, as well as the tight end. And that's something that you always worry about, is just some of the mismatches in size with their wide receivers and their tight end on some of our shorter defensive backs.
Yeah, you see them right here. They're pretty balanced on offense. There's the big tight end right there, but I like their skill players too. Their receivers are big kids, 6'3", 200. Brian Riley, number 2. Outstanding. Justin Priest, he's number 8. There's the big tight end again. That's Ross Dwelly. He's 6'5", 240, so kind of like a Goddard for South Dakota State.
Yeah, exceptional player in the seam, in between the hashes, and they flex him out and do a lot of things. And he's putting the ball in perfect spots there, and the receivers are coming down with it. But I really like their scheme. They're not going to say, we're going to go run and shoot and throw it 65 times a game, and they're pretty balanced like you talked about. And when you have good balance, it forces a defense, to make sure that you've got to win early. You have to win on those early downs to try to force them into some third and longs, because they're killing people on play action pass in those first and second downs.
They're a West Coast offense, 38 points a game, so they're doing great things on offense, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are, and they're well coached. I mean, we haven't even talked about that. They've got a veteran coaching staff. They're putting their guys in positions to be successful. I think you and I talked. They had a chip on their shoulder playing that game. They were going to play their best football on Saturday, and they sure did, and really impressive offense.
Well, they went 8-0 in the Pioneer League, a non-scholarship league, so the competition wasn't great, but they won their games by 32.5 points a game. They crushed everybody. Let's look at their defense a little bit. #1 in the nation in total defense, #1 in the nation in pass efficiency, #1 in scoring D. They only gave up 12.9 points a game. They have a really good corner in Devin Bryant.
Yeah, they really do. And the thing that I notice is how well they're coached and how fast they play and run to the football. And we talk about leverage, and they don't get themselves out of leverage, and they're relentless to the quarterback. And like you said, they have ball hawks in the back end, and you know it's a remedy for success. And you don't win. Now, what are they, 10-1? You don't win that many games without the kids believing in the system and without them believing in that they're going to have success if they keep playing the way they're playing.
Yeah, in the Pioneer League, I mentioned non-scholarship, and you know their competition wasn't great, yes, so those numbers maybe skewed a little bit, but I'll tell you what, those guys, they crushed everybody, kind of like Sam Houston a little bit. If you're playing competition that's lesser, if you're still winning by big margins, that's something to watch for, isn't it?
Well, they're one of 16 left, and you know there's an awful lot of FCS football teams, and they're one of 16, and you know Dayton was the automatic qualifier last year. Dayton played Western Illinois, and Western Illinois finally took control of the game late in the fourth quarter. So they're going to be ready to play. They're going to be excited to come in here. They're going to have nothing to lose. They get to come into the Fargo Dome. I'm sure they're glad they're not playing outside, but they get to come into the Fargo Dome with a bunch of veteran fifth-year senior guys that are going to have a chip on their shoulder, and I expect it to be a four-quarter good football game.
Well, who's the leader of this group? His name is Dale Lindsey. He's 73 years old. He's been in coaching for 43 years. He's in the Kentucky Sports Hall of Fame, played 9 years in the NFL for the Browns. He's been an assistant on 6 different NFL teams. He's done great things at San Diego. 2 out of 3 years they've been in the playoffs. He's 36-9, but he was actually the defensive coordinator for the San Diego Chargers. This guy knows football.
You know, you like it when the success happens to a guy like that that's been in the profession as long as he has, and with the wealth of experience he has. You know, those are good stories to have in college football. Yeah. You know, prior to him being there, who was their head coach?
Good question.
Jim Harbaugh.
There you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some tradition there. In San Diego, they've always kind of dominated the Pioneer League, and they dominated again this year, and they're going to be ready to play. It's going to be a great football game. Yeah,
Jim Harbaugh went undefeated there and missed the playoffs that one year. I forgot about that. Wow. Right. Hey, the bracket, just as a whole, as we take a broad stroke look at the pod that NDSU is in, it's South Dakota State and Villanova, an excellent game there as well. So now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the playoffs, and boy, I'll tell you what, there's some good teams.
Yeah, there really are. You're down to 16. They're really good matchups now, and you know, those 8 that played, there was several blowouts, so maybe those teams will be a little bit more fresh to play. But it's every game is kind of a do or die, and you have to survive in advance, so to speak. And no, we'll have our hands full. That's all. Our only attention is going to be on San Diego. We don't care what happens down the road in Brookings.
One more stat I dug into with these guys. They're #1 in the FCS in time of possession offensively. That's kind of the Bison game too, so that'll be a key stat this week, won't it?
Yeah, it really will. It's, you know, strength against strength. They want to run the football. The other thing I notice is they don't get sacked very often, and so they're really efficient throwing the football. It's not like the quarterback sitting back there patting the football, waiting for guys to get open. It's a real timing offense where they're getting rid of the ball. They're changing it up. They're 50-50 run pass, and you're right. The ability not to get sacked, the ability not to turn the football over, boy, that creates a lot of problems. It's something that we're going to have to work on all this week.
Well, thanks for your time, Coach, and best of luck this week. We have a special guest to break down the rest of the bracket in the second segment here. Before we get to that, on the Gate City Bank hot seat, Eric Perkins. Eric, as a child, who was your favorite cartoon character?
Probably say Johnny Bravo. I like Johnny Bravo.
Okay, that makes sense. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning.
Okay. What is your favorite pro team?
Carolina Panthers.
That's like Urzendowski.
Yep.
Yeah,
we get along pretty well.
Visit any place in the world, what would it be?
Probably say Greece.
That'd be fun. What is the worst household chore?
Laundry, definitely.
Yeah. What is a weird habit you can't shake?
I chew my fingernails a lot.
Yeah. What impresses you most about the Bison coaching staff?
That they're all really good friends and they all get along with each other very well.
One thing people don't know about you.
I have a pet snake,
What's his name?
Hydra.
Okay, wow.
He's an albino ball python.
All right, thanks, Perk.
Yep.
Welcome back to the show. As we move into the playoffs, we wanted to relive this remarkable regular season through the voice of our new play-by-play man, Jeff Koolhain. The tough schedule provided some great moments.
Handoff, Frazier cuts out to the right side, has some room. Frazier to the 15, 10, 5, end zone, touchdown, King Frazier on the first play of overtime. Handoff, done, has some room, 20, 15, done, 10, 5, end zone, ball game, touchdown. Why not on the first play? Just like two weeks ago. Good snap, spot, kick on the way. The kick is up. It's good. And the Bison have done it again. North Dakota State has knocked off the Iowa Hawkeyes. Play action, looking left. Now Colby trying to run, and the ball is knocked out. It's fumbled. Who's got it? Knocked away, and the Bison have the football. Handoff, Frazier breaks a tackle, lowering the shoulder, runs over Dylan Cole into the end zone. Christian in the gun, takes a snap, fade pattern, left side, passes picked off, intercepted. Dempsey read it all the way. Pierre G. Tucker recovers it in the end zone. Are you kidding me? Code Green takes the snap, looking up the middle. He's popped. His helmet flew off. What a hit by Ambrosius. There's some room. Morlock into the open field to the 10, 5, in there. Touchdown. Shepard takes it to the 15, cuts up. Now finds an alley to the 20, spins off. Ball nearly lost it, picked it up, got it back. 35, 40. Shepard has a convoy. Cuts back. Nobody is going to catch him. End zone. Touchdown. Play action. Stick rolling right. Surveys, looks, lofts it down the field. Shepard caught. 20, 15, 10, 5. Spins in there. End zone. Touchdown.
Oh, fun stuff there. Before we break down the bracket, the attendance was shocking for the first 8 round FCS games. The Bison are right at capacity at 18,700 for playoff games. So eyeball these numbers, folks. It's actually mind-boggling that some of these attendance numbers are in the 2,000s. Villanova had just over 2,000. Youngstown wins the day at 5,322. That'll change this week. The Dome's going to be rocking a little bit. Well, joining me on set here is the co-host of the Bison football pregame show, Ryan Gellner, and we're going to break down this bracket a little bit. You watch some of these games yesterday.
Plenty of football yesterday for me in the Gellner household. There's lots going on across the FCS, and some scores, as Coach talked about, some scores that are out of hand in that first round. Those will get a lot closer in the second round.
Yeah, we're going to rifle through the scores here a little bit and go from top to bottom on the bracket and kind of look at how things played out here. Villanova won by 10. It wasn't really that close. Obviously, the San Diego Cal Poly game.
Yeah, and that game was close for a while. San Diego tried to give that thing away with the late interception, but in the end, on that field, the better team won.
Hey, it was not a good day for the Big Sky, so Cal Poly lost. Weber State got throttled as we moved down the bracket a little bit. Chattanooga, very impressive. New Hampshire and Lehigh. New Hampshire put up 64 on Lehigh. My goodness.
Quarterback win for 273. The running back for 184. They can move the football.
Now, Youngstown State and Samford. Youngstown, this was a good win for the Valley. Youngstown State starting to get some offense rolling to complement that fantastic defense. In a 50-50 game down in South Carolina, Wofford wins that one.
431 yards going back to that Youngstown game, and then they had 600 the week before.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
Yeah, in Wofford, Charleston Southern, the battle of running teams there, the triple options, 15-14. That was a great game right there. And the bottom of the bracket, Richmond, North Carolina A&T. North Carolina A&T had no business in the bracket, and it showed 39-10. And Richmond had to start a new quarterback. They lost their quarterback, Kyle Lauletta, for the year. Kevin Johnson, his first career start, very impressive.
Yeah, really impressive there. Richmond, 491 yards of total offense. They forced 4 turnovers. I agree. North Carolina A&T, not much business being in the playoffs there. And then you look at that Illinois State score.
It's a good win for the Valley.
That is a great win.
Yeah. Or actually a bad loss for the Valley, a great win for Central Arkansas. Bad loss for the Valley.
It's a great win because the 24 fourth quarter points, and Illinois State doesn't do that. 24 fourth quarter points against Illinois State, it's a big-time win against a pretty good opponent.
Yeah, Illinois State, watching that game, just had a real meltdown on special teams, gave up a block punt for a touchdown. So now Central Arkansas goes to Eastern Washington. Good luck with that one. Now, as we look at the bracket and look at these second-round matchups, there are some great second-round matchups here. NDSU gets San Diego, but this SDSU-Villanova game, that should be something.
That will be fun. Villanova on the road, they're going to have a chance against South Dakota State, and we'll see which South Dakota State team shows up. You'd expect that veteran bunch, but I think that's going to be a good football game.
You know, Villanova looks a lot like Youngstown State. They have great defense, a fantastic defense, one of the best in the nation. Struggle a little bit on offense, so we'll see what the weather's like in Brookings as well, as SDSU is the home team there. Now, moving down the bracket a little bit, I'll tell you what, Sam, Houston State and Chattanooga, this could be a very, very interesting game. And James Madison, New Hampshire, a rematch from the regular season.
I think that James Madison, New Hampshire game is going to be outstanding. New Hampshire playing good football. They're the most experienced team in the playoffs now, 13 straight playoff appearances for them. I think New Hampshire, James Madison is going to be outstanding.
Yeah, and we'll see who plays quarterback for James Madison. Is it Cole Johnson? They pulled his red shirt in week 10. Or is it Brian Shore, who was out injured? We're not sure who's playing quarterback for JMU in that game. Sam Houston, high-powered. I'll tell you what, Chattanooga, though, a very, very good team. So as we move down the bracket a little bit as well, now the bottom half, Youngstown, Jacksonville State, look out. This could be a slugfest and not an easy game for Jacksonville at all.
Agreed. Probably the best defense Jacksonville State has gone up against this year will be Youngstown State. And Youngstown State, all of a sudden, Jer, they found an offense. And they are scoring points. They scored 38 points this week, which is a big-time surprise. But Youngstown getting on track right now. They're going to give Jacksonville State a run for their money, that is for sure. And then on the bottom side, Wofford. All of a sudden, that is a great defensive matchup. Wofford is playing great football, especially defensively.
Yeah, the Citadel played a game this year where they ran 81 plays and 77 of them were runs. That game might take an hour and a half to play, the Citadel and Wofford. Two running teams right there. Now, Richmond. Richmond's an interesting team, all beat up with injuries. They have 6 or 7 starters out. They're down to their backup quarterback, Kevin Johnson, just a sophomore, first career start. He played. This is an either-or game up in Grand Forks.
We'll find out who the real North Dakota is in this game right here.
Yeah.
If North Dakota plays good football, they've got a shot, but Richmond's a good football team coming in. Bunch of backups, but a lot to prove on the road there.
And a long, long shot for Central Arkansas at Eastern Washington. Eastern is a very solid team. As we know, we saw them in the Dome this year. Outstanding team. That's a tough matchup for Central Arkansas.
They're going to have to continue to score points. Scored 24 in the fourth quarter against Illinois State to knock them off. They're going to have to score and not wait till the fourth quarter to keep up with Eastern Washington.
Yeah, I think this is maybe the toughest set of second-round games I have seen in a long time. There's very few layup games in there.
Agree. I would pick 3 of them right now as games that could go either way, and there are some good matchups in this one. It'll be interesting to see. I'll tell you what, it doesn't get easy for many home teams this week. All of the home teams won last week except for one. That's the one, San Diego, that comes to North Dakota State. Teams are going to have to play well on the home turf to defend.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun week, no doubt. Thanks for your analysis, Ryan. And you can catch Ryan Gellner on the Bison football pregame show all the way throughout the playoffs. However long the Bison keep playing, Ryan will be there along with Alex Egan on that show as well. So thanks for coming in today, and we'll look forward to December here. It's going to be fun here in Fargo for the playoffs. Always is. Well, still to come, we're going to talk about Jeff Ilias, have our future crop of Bison, also talk a little bit more about San Diego. Stay with us. Welcome back. Jeff Ilias is yet another example of a small-town North Dakota kid living a dream playing for the Bison. NDSU has made a living of taking these kids, tapping into their state pride, and developing them into legit Division I football players. It's a work ethic in this part of the country that rises to the top. In all of these stories, Alex Egan has this week's Olaf Anderson Construction feature story.
From the day Jeff Ilias stepped foot on campus at North Dakota State, the coaches could see they had something special.
He's developed himself, into a physical kid, but also a pretty good athlete as well.
The success this year didn't happen overnight for the former 9-man football star. It's been a lot of work. His position coach, Tyler Roll, says it's the work ethic that puts Jeff in a position to succeed, and Jeff attributes that work ethic to where he's from.
Just small town North Dakota, that work ethic, and I've always been a quiet guy. My dad's always taught me to stay humble. And
Lidgerwood, North Dakota, about an hour south of Fargo, where Jeff's family has operated a welding shop for the past 75 years. Here, working for what you get is a way of life.
Myself growing up and stuff, It was always, everybody had to work, and I think that was instilled in a lot of people, maybe especially in a small town. You know, that probably was something that was more common.
Jerry says Jeff grew up playing just about every sport. Basketball, track, baseball, you name it, Jeff played it, right alongside his 2 older brothers. So it wasn't a shock when Jeff continued on with football at North Dakota State.
It just seemed like he didn't have any trouble, very blessed with what he could do. I mean, there was nothing that seemed like it was, he always worked hard at stuff, but he never lost interest.
This year, the Bison are seeing the payoff of all the hard work Jeff has put in, but he and his coaches know this is only the beginning.
He knows he's not a finished product. He needs to keep pushing himself to get better every single day, and he wants to do things better than what they've been done before. So we just need to keep pushing him and keep putting him in a position to be successful.
For the Bison Football Show, I'm Alex Egan.
Well, keep it up, Jeff, playing great football for the Bison. Well, they also play 9-man football in Minnesota, and Matt Biegler is hoping for some of the same successes as Jeff Ilias. Biegler came in as a tight end out of Underwood, Minnesota, which is just east of Fergus Falls. He has a big frame and is a potential defensive tackle now on defense. Underwood went to the state title game in 2013 and 2015, which gave Matt a dream opportunity with the Bison.
Growing up as a kid, I've always been a fan of the Bison because we're about an hour away, and my parents were always a fan. My sister's gone to school here, and so I just always really liked the Bison and been a fan. So it's been a goal to try and come here and play football.
Jim Kramer is working hard with Biegler to fill him out for that defensive tackle role. He's had a really good redshirt year. The coaches really like him. This is a fantastic group of Bison redshirting this year. Well, still to come, we're going to talk a little bit more about San Diego. Set the stage. The playoffs are here, folks. The Bison host the Toreros this Saturday at the Dome. Stay with us. Well, it's our Verizon look ahead. San Diego at NDSU. The Toreros are coming. It's a 2:30 kickoff. We'll have the Bison Radio Network fired up for you at 2 o'clock. ESPN3, ESPN College Extra are your TV options this week. So it's playoff time, folks. The Toreros are coming in. 9 straight wins for San Diego. Should be a fun week. Enjoy this playoff run. The Bison start their run for a 6th straight title. We'll see you next time.